Welcome to Spectra Shifts, where science gets simple. From quantum quirks to cosmic wonders, we break it all down with clarity and curiosity. If you enjoy learning in a nutshell, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. South Korea is on a fast track to becoming the ghost of nations past. Sounds dramatic? That's because it is. The country is heading toward a full-scale meltdown, demographically, economically, socially, culturally, and even militarily. Basically, it's not looking good. Why? Because for decades, South Korea's been in a fertility crisis so severe, it makes the term baby bust sound like a mild inconvenience. The birth rate is now so low, it's practically reverse cloning. And the worst part, we may have already passed the point of no return. By 2060, the South Korea we know, with its K-pop, dramas, and late-night ramen, might be more myth than memory. To keep a population stable, each woman needs to have about 2.1 children, which sounds like one kid and a sidekick. Back in the 1950s, Korean moms were practically forming their own soccer teams with an average of 6 kids each. By the 1980s, the rate dropped below 2, and by 2023, a jaw-dropping 0.72. In Seoul, it's around 0.55, which is basically half a baby and a goldfish. Here's the math of doom. If 100 people have 36 kids who have 13 who have 5, in just 4 generations, you're down from 100 to a measly 5. It's like watching a civilization do the vanishing act, but slower and sadder. Even though the population, economy, and workforce are currently peaking, it's the calm before the demographic storm. This is the kind of crisis that creeps up on you, then suddenly punches you in the face with a walker. So let's hop in our time machine and jump to 2060. Using the UN's least optimistic forecast, because let's be real, optimism has left the building, the population will shrink by 30%. That's 16 million people. Poof. Gone. South Korea will be crowned the oldest country in human history, with more wrinkles than toddlers. Half the population will be over 65. Under 25s, just 1 in 10. And actual children, good luck spotting one. It's basically a countrywide episode of Where Are the Kids? Imagine waking up and hearing nothing. No school bells, no playground screams, just the sound of bingo nights and collective back pain. Entire towns abandoned, grandma-filled cities, and a dwindling group of people trying to keep the lights on. And now for the fun part, economic collapse. In 2023, nearly 40% of Korean seniors were already living below the poverty line. By 2060, that might seem like the golden years. South Korea currently boasts a hefty pension fund, but by the 2040s that piggy bank stops growing. By the 2050s it's empty, broke, nada. In 2060, pensions will rely on taxpayers, but there won't be enough workers. Even if every teen gets a job and never takes a sick day, there'll be less than 1 worker per retiree, and those working will be carrying the weight of the entire country on their backs, and their backs will probably hurt too. The result? Many elderly will have to work, and not all of them will find jobs, especially with the economy running on fumes. Productivity may increase thanks to tech, but even AI can't pay taxes or attend boring staff meetings. GDP will peak around the 2040s and then take a nosedive into a prolonged recession. Not cute. Also, young adults typically drive innovation, and if they're missing in action, so is progress. Less tax revenue plus more elderly care equals a government juggling chainsaws with no hands. Hospitals, schools, and infrastructure will be cut or shut down. Rural areas will be abandoned, and the country will fold into its cities like a dying star. Societally and culturally, prepare to get even sadder. As of now, 20% of Koreans live alone and have no close friends. By 2060, half of 70-year-olds won't have siblings, and a third won't have children. Young people will be rare unicorns, only 5% of the population. The result? A loneliness crisis so massive it might get its own K-drama, but who's left to star in it? The cultural powerhouse that gave us K-pop and K-dramas will likely see its creative engine sputter. In 2000, young adults made up 37% of the population. By 2060, just 16%. Traditions will die because there won't be enough youth to inherit them. The soul of Korea might just retire early. And youth culture? Imagine being one of the only teens in town. Your local school is now a storage unit, and your only playmates are 80-year-olds arguing about soup prices. Many young people may flee to the big cities, or just flee the country altogether. Then there's the North Korea issue, still technically at war. With fewer young people, South Korea might struggle to staff its military. By 2060 it would need 15% of its eligible men in uniform, unless of course they replace soldiers with K-pop idols trained in martial arts. At this point, you might be thinking, is there any way out of this mess? Well, not really. Even if every couple starts cranking out kids like they're trying to win a population lottery, the demographic ship has already hit the iceberg. Recovery would still take generations and pass through a very painful bottleneck. But there is a tiny glimmer of hope. In 2024, South Korea saw a 3% rise in births, the first increase in 9 years. It's not a baby boom, but maybe a baby boom. Still, for that to continue, the country needs a serious culture shift. They need to ask, how did we get here? Like many rich nations, South Korea saw birth rates drop as life improved, but they cranked it up to 11. The country skyrocketed out of poverty but landed in a pressure cooker of overwork and anxiety. People work too long, earn too little, and pay too much for homes and education. Not exactly an environment that screams, let's have kids. Cultural expectations don't help either. Women often face workplace discrimination if they have children. Men are pressured to earn big and succeed big or risk being labeled a failure. The result? Most people are choosing not to have families. In short, South Korea built a system where having kids feels like a punishment. And now the country is facing the consequences. Demographic collapse isn't some distant sci-fi horror. It's real, it's now, and it's going to reshape the country faster than you can say K-pop comeback. Thanks for exploring science with us, one shift at a time. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Stay curious and keep shifting your spectrum.